Welcome back. Today I thought I'd record the actual design process. I use Plasticity, but the basic principles are tool agnostic. I've used Blender in the past, so it's really up to you which software you prefer. And to be clear, this video is by no means a tutorial. I'm just capturing some steps of the process to give you a general idea of what it takes to design a product like this. Whenever I work with off-the-shelf parts, having accurate 3D models is critical, so that's where I always start. I found a CAD model of the exact joystick online, but I had to quickly design the thumbstick head. It's a pretty straightforward shape. I just measured the key diameters of the one I have with calipers and lofted them. The next step was to accurately determine the range of motion. In my case, it's 28 degrees. That's why I'm factoring that in and making sure I find the precise rotation point. With that out of the way, I also made an outline of the joystick to make sure it fits inside the thumb module and that the moving parts don't interfere with the body of the keypad. I also make sure I have sufficient tolerances. At this point, I start thinking about how many pieces I need for it to perform its function and how they will be held together. I'm also making sure I don't forget that a ribbon cable will need to be routed through this assembly somehow. It's critical to think about this early on because I know this will be a lens adjustable component, so I need to make sure the cable can move freely. I'm not trying to set the design in stone yet, but each additional constraint serves as a reminder while designing it. At this stage, I'm still exploring exactly how these pieces will be held together, but I already have a good idea of how much rigidity this part needs. Since it serves as the main support of the entire joystick, I'm also keeping in mind that this joystick has a momentary switch, so the bottom plate needs to be able to withstand direct pressure. In the past, I tried gluing these components, which comes with obvious trade-offs, and I also tried connecting them with screws, which dramatically increases the size of the module. One of my key goals was to reduce the size as much as possible, so the main connection methods I explore were a twist lock mechanism and 3D printed threads. After printing several test parts, it became clear that the twist lock wouldn't work in my case. The connection points kept breaking off, and since I didn't want to increase the size of the assembly, I decided to go with threads. They're a bit more challenging to design and print, but they perform much better in my case. Before making any final decisions about the shape of the thumbstick module, I made a quick block out. Again, because it's going to be lens adjustable, I needed to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. By the way, around this time I figured out how to add OLED display support to my firmware, so I'm also making sure there is enough space for that. In my opinion, the thumb module is the best place for the display. It does add a bit of complexity since I need to make it work with the rails and two screws, and I also need to make sure the ribbon cable for the display can move freely. But I'll worry about it later. I already have a few ideas for how to make it work. I really like this hexagonal shape for the thumbstick, so that's what I decided to go with, yeah, let me show you how I designed it. I have this couple of reference objects as I mentioned earlier. I'm not going to build it precisely, this is just a demonstration, but it's still nice to have this reference in here. So we'll start with the circle, and I think I used something like 18 millimeters for the opening. So yeah, that should do it, and the location would be somewhere here. And of course, since we are doing a hexagonal shape, we'll need a hexagon as well. So I think that's how I added another corner. Let's do 40. I think I can bevel the vertices right away. Nothing crazy, something like this. And the trick here is, 1 second. Let's move it somewhere here. So the trick is, it's pretty simple. There's no trick really, you just loft it. But you see you get this cone, so we will not be replicating this spherical shape. So it would be really nice if it had some space for the hat. So basically if it was a little bit rounded. So we'll figure that out right now. The way I did it was I used the curve and I connected these dots over here like so. And again, in this demonstration, it doesn't really matter. I try to do my best to match the curvature of the half sphere. But for now, I think it will do. And the reason I did this is because it allows me to loft these two geometries through this curvature, except that you probably can already tell that there's a little bit of a problem. It does it here on this face, but the rest is basically straight line. So in order to have it circular, we also need to add a radial array. And this is our center. We need 6 lines in here, 6 curves. And I think that was pretty much it. So now when I'm lofting it and I'm including these curves one at a time, I can replicate the exact spherical shape that I need. So and from here is just another loft. Joining these parts. And I'm also adding another thickness in here. I like to use 1.6. This accounts to 2 volts when 3D printing it. So yeah, this is how I made that thumbstick dome, where I connect hexagonal shape to the circular shape through a half sphere curvature. The second major piece of this puzzle was to add threads down here. And the way I did it was through using a spiral tool. So let's see if I can replicate it in here. Yeah. Okay, I'll delete these curves. I no longer need them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of thickness through offset. It doesn't really matter how much in this case. So the key tool is spiral. And I think this is my outer diameter. I'm not trying to replicate any particular metric or imperial threads. I'm not trying to make it compatible with anything. It just needs to work well with 3D printing. In my actual design, I think I used 2 full thread loops throughout the height of this screw-in part. So in here I have 4 turns, which, if we cut it, it seems to be pretty close to how I had it in the design. So I'm going to go ahead and okay this. And I could definitely model my own profile of the thread, but I felt like there was no need to overcomplicate it, so I used the pipe tool for this. And I just reduced the number of words to 3, and I rotated rotated them to have the pointy bed outwards. And yeah, this is pretty much my threads. So of course I had to add tolerances in here. Well, first of all, I had to model the same profile on the screw-in part. So this is the inner part and this is the outer part. And I also had to add some tolerances. But yeah, this is pretty much how I got it done.